completely machinima. And now for something completely machinima. And now for something completely machinima.
Hello and welcome to And Now for Something Completely Machinima, podcast about machinima, virtual production, and related technologies. My name's Phil Rice, and I'm here with my co-hosts Tracy Harwood.
Hello.
And Damien Valentine.
Hello.
So this week is my pick, and it wouldn't be And Now for Something Completely Machinima if every few months I didn't pick something that is as Monty Python might put it, slightly silly. This one's been in my queue for a while, and I've been waiting for just an opportunity to slot it in. And there's some other films that cut the line and got out, and now it's finally time. And this is called Wallace Breen's Day Off. It's a Garry's Mod machinima, made by a creator who goes by Michael is Very Vintage. And I picked this before Tracy showed her pick, which we discussed last week, which was also a Garry's Mod machinima. And we had no idea what a delightful contrast this would be, because one of the things that the creator of that film, which was called Hostiles. This was a Garry's Mod machinima film that had the look and feel and quality level that you would typically associate it with source filmmaker movies. And one of the comments that he made was Garry's Mod has a reputation for kind of janky and not very good looking animation. And so you would think that I had picked this film to show, see, this is what he's talking about. Yeah, it wasn't deliberate like that, but see,
It does.
this is what he was talking about. Yes. So this little film of, let's be real, very immature humor for the most part, which is, I still have a place in my heart for. Follows Wallace Breen. Wallace Breen is, if you don't know, he's the administrator of. Okay, so when in Half-Life 2, ultimately aliens have come and taken over the Earth and have established this totalitarian regime. Wallace Breen is essentially the main collaborator who is facilitating that takeover as a human, thinking that he will be, not the first against the wall when the time comes type of thing, So this is a comical look at if that administrator, Mr. Breen, got a day off. I don't know if the title of the film is supposed to be a play off of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, because there's nothing in the sequence of the film that seems to really tie into that. It's just kind of a silly situation where what does he do in his spare time? And answers that comically. And so he's going around always with armed guards present, and he surfs the internet and interacts with immature commenters in an equally immature fashion. He goes out hunting in his backyard, shooting at fowl in the air. Goes around town. I think at one point, doesn't he end up at a bowling alley?
Yes.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Angering people, and wherever he goes, he is waiting in line for at a fast food place, and the person in front of him is taking their time, and so you get the impression that he uses his power to to get them out of the way. Um, I think he sits in front of a slot machine, which I think was one of my favorite scenes from the whole thing. It's just such this pitiful moment where this man who is presumably the most powerful human on the planet, and he's sitting there at a slot machine, waiting on Lady Luck. So it culminates. I'm going to go ahead and risk spoilers on this film, but it culminates with this moment where uh, the dialogue is a little bit obscure, but essentially it leaves you with the impression that somebody has done him in. And I'll explain what I mean by that because it may not be obvious to you. Um, this film is full of memes. It is a meme itself, but it is full of literal memes. The final one is a direct homage to the final moments of the final episode of a very popular HBO television show called The Sopranos, made famous because it's ambiguous. It literally just cuts to black right at a key moment, and no one knows really what happened. And the director hasn't been real helpful in filling that in. It just stops. And it does so while playing the Journey song, Don't Stop Believin'. It says, Don't stop. And then it goes to black. So they did a play on that here. And it's a similar moment with Breen as it was for Tony Soprano at the end of that show. And that is, you get the feeling somebody's about to shoot him. But then you never see it happen. It doesn't happen. You don't hear the sound. Nothing like that happens. So that was a deliberate homage to that. There are tons of other little embedded references or cameos or things like that in this film. For example, in the fast food scene that I was talking about, the person behind the counter is none other than the lead character from Grand Theft Auto 4. I believe is it Nico? Is that what he goes by?
Yeah,
I can't. Yeah,
I think so.
He's behind the counter ringing up the order. There's another point where at the bowling alley, I remember seeing the G-Man, which is a key character from Half-Life 2. He's just kind of standing there in the background. One of the Fortress 2 characters, I think it's the Scout,
Yeah.
is one of the bowlers in the bowling alley.
Yeah.
So a lot of thought was put into this kind of strange collection of these bizarre, very non-Half-Life 2 looking locations have been put together for this, to create this very surreal platform on which is overlaid just the most exaggerated cartoon-like animations that you can imagine. Like everything is over the top. It's like it reminds me of Ren and Stimpy. It's that type of energy where it's just everything's jerky and deliberately so, and eye rolls are way huge, and all the expressions are exaggerated, and the movements are just deliberately silly and tend in the direction of cartoon violence. When Breen shoots down when he's hunting and then it falls, it takes out one of his protection guards that's on patrol, and it doesn't just hit him in the head and he falls over. He goes flying off. It obliterates him, and he just goes flying away and drops his gun. So it's all very exaggerated, and all that supported by a very cartoon approach to these sounds as well. So it's a very strange film. It does not follow any narrative convention at all. It's really a slice of life, but a slice of really weird acid trip kind of life, Um, I don't know if someone were to ask me, what was the point of this film?
Oh, there's
I don't
no
know.
point.
I don't think there was one, right? Yeah, I think it was really just an episode, if that's the right term, right? It's just a sequence of things that happened in the fantastical, imaginative, offstage life of this alien collaborator that you come to have every reason to have animus toward during the game. He's the enemy, really. He's behind all of this. He's you feel about him in the game the same way that during World War II, when people found out that someone was collaborating with the Nazis, it was that's worse. You know, to some people, they would feel like that's worse than the Nazis, is if you helped them, right?
Mhm.
That's arguable, of course, but that's the posture that you end up having towards Breen. So to see him in this weird scenario, um, it's just bizarre and strange, and so naturally, I loved it. What did you guys think?
So it kind of reminded me of some of the robot chicken skits about Emperor
Oh,
Palpatine.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Great reference.
yeah.
Yes.
Like the famous one where he's in his office and he's ordering a sandwich and Darth Vader calls him. It's kind of got that kind of vibe to it, except this is even more over the top because it doesn't have to fit into the Star Wars world. This is a collection of moments rather than one. I was laughing throughout, but my favorite bit is the guy that was holding that everyone up in the fast food restaurant. When he gets thrown down the corridor,
Mm. It's
he
pleasant.
goes, he knocks people over, and then he just starts randomly exploding. I had to pause it. I was laughing so much at that moment. It makes absolutely no sense, but it's also hilarious. Um, so yeah, this is one of those old school machinima videos where the creator just has various silly ideas, films them, puts them together, and puts it out there. There's no story to it because it doesn't need one. It's just hilarious, fun things that don't match the tone of the games at all, but that's why it's so funny. Like the guy exploding randomly as he's thrown down the corridor. Uh, but yeah, the robot chicken skits what came to mind. Especially when they're making fun of Emperor Palpatine because obviously such a dark and evil character in the real stories, and then he's just doing this really stupid stuff around the Death Star or whatever. The other skit that came to mind was when he's going up the escalator and the stormtroopers are coming down the other way, and he's just greeting them, and he gets more and more frustrated because it's just yeah. Anyway, I'm not talking about. I shouldn't really be talking about Robot Chicken. We should be talking about this film. um, I don't know. I thought it was great. It's a huge contrast from the very serious Hostiles we saw last week, and this is definitely more of what I expect to see from Garry's mod because
Yeah.
we do get a lot of comedy films from it, and
Mm.
this is definitely one of the better ones. It's really good, and really funny, and the thing is, you don't have to be hugely familiar with Half-Life to enjoy it.
No.
It helps. Like with Hostiles, you can watch it and enjoy it, but the twist at the end, it's going to be lost on someone. Like Phil, you said that last week when recording. This, it doesn't matter if you don't know who Wallace Breen is.
It really doesn't.
It helps a little bit, but not really. You can just enjoy this and have a great time and a great laugh. And it's nice to see machinery like this is still being made because this is only a few months old.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Do you-
yeah, I'm finished.
Okay. Well, do you know what? I was going to say similar kind of thing. It's so much fun, this is. It just, it taps into the kind of, the kind of stuff that's sort of more old school, really, in machinima. And it's much more about the physics playground in the game than it kind of is any kind of story, really. Leans really into it as a sandbox, and the humor really comes from the kind of deadpan sort of dystopian satire mixed with the kind of machinima awkwardness that you get typically in this particular game. I mean the style. I mean, it's a style that turns the oppressive world of Half-Life into a stage for sort of workplace like absurdity, really. I think its closest relatives, when I was looking at it, I was thinking, God, this reminds me of so many other machinimas that we've seen over the years. I mean, it leans into the comedy of Red versus Blue, and tons of Source engine parodies like Concerned, and and then I thought, well, actually, it's also like World of War, Workcraft as well, different engine, same kind of humor, workplace kind of satire, really, from a sort of a bygone era in many ways. But it's lovely to see that it's still being made. I love the kind of animation style that's intentionally stiff and exaggerated. Yet I think what's quite clever about it is the framing of it, and the editing and the timing of the jokes that are being made, just very cleverly done. It obviously isn't any kind of there's no realism in this. It's got these kind of broken, hyper realistic movements. But it is what it is. It's comedic, it's dramatic, it's all about the camera placement, the character positioning, and the way in which the guy plays around with the ragdoll animation and physics in the game. It's great. There's a lot of expression, there's a lot of chaos, and I think given that, it's actually also unexpectedly cinematic in places as well. And I think that that's how the human works here. It's because you've got this kind of tonal incongruity, can't even say it, incongruity really, with almost character inversion, like you said. The Breen's speeches are in Half-Life, they're calm, they're intellectual, they're sinister propaganda in so many ways, and this sort of exaggerates his persona and puts it in a very mundane and absurd context, kind of treating him as an idiot, basically. He is this kind of almost weary bureaucrat just trying to get through his day in this. And actually, I wondered if at the end he wasn't just this idiot having a dream, because it's almost implies after it goes black, there's another little bit after it, and it's almost like he
That is
wakes up.
so funny that you would say that, because one of the fan theories
Uh-huh.
about the ending of The Sopranos was something in that vein. Was
Okay.
this all a dream? Or there was a point about a year prior in the show where Tony had very nearly died. He got shot in the chest. It was awful. And there was a lot of speculation of maybe he died then, and this was all.
Oh,
I mean, all those kinds of things. So yeah, I think it evokes all of that at the same time. Yeah.
fascinating, fascinating. Yeah, well, clearly he's very fallible in this, which he obviously isn't in Half-Life. He's horrible, nasty piece of work. And the other thing I like about this is the way that the Combine are conveyed as incompetent soldiers as well. I mean, they're just morons in this, which is in and of itself, and it's just hilarious the way that it's being told. I mean, the pace of it is brilliant. The shots are really very concise, very, very clipped, very purposeful. And, the way the camera is used, sort of on Breen, but then swings to other things that are happening. Just brilliant. That in itself is a very clever device, which conveys the humor that's sort of, slice of life intent, really, that's being shown. Brilliantly well done. What else? I think, yeah, that what you've got is not a machinima as a whole, but a series of sketches which I think is also very interesting. So these are just like little vignettes all kind of stitched together. It's not really his day, but a whole series of sketches, almost almost old style comedy, really, in many ways. Yeah, it's got obviously a very long lineage within Source Engine tools, and the way that this sort of stuff is being told. I kind of was thinking what other ones were in that vein from earlier days, and then I was reminded that Half-Life, Full-Life Consequences was a kind of an episodic series that was very similar in its vein, which kind of helped, I suppose, in its day, helped to convey to creators that you could turn this tool set into all sorts of, you use it in all sorts of ways to create interesting narrative arcs, really. And many of those in those days, the Full Life Consequences, I think was 2009-10 when that came out. And it was all about these kind of very rough-edged humor and this kind of gritty aesthetic style. And I guess, Phil, it's not the first time we've picked one of these sort of films. If you remember, something we picked last year, about this time last year, really, was Ridiculous Ties
Yes.
with, which was made by Finzar. I mean, there's some fantastic humor in that as well. Just
Yeah.
amazing stuff. So yeah.
I found myself thinking back also to Blobalicious
Okay,
from the
really
Quake
long
1
time
days,
ago.
which
Yeah,
maybe is even more connected to this style than
possibly.
Ridiculous Ties. Because Ridiculous Ties does have there's a narrative thread that runs through the whole thing that joins it
Yes,
all
there
together.
is.
And
Yes,
this
there is.
feels more disjointed. Blobalicious is even more disjointed and abstract at times. But yeah, and I love that, even though some of the humor in that is just ridiculous and immature, and I just
Yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right about Ridiculous Ties being a narrative arc, but the narrative arc for me was the bit about who the character is to start with.
Hmm.
And so that to me was the setting for this
Sure.
ridiculousness. But yeah, I mean, I really liked it. I really liked the experimentation. I think its charm is in the technical imperfection of it, and the sense of immediacy that you get with it. The way the like I said, the characters are placed, the cameras are positioned, the way the scenes are assembled. I just loved the way that it's put together, and it conveys that sort of, it's got great humor in the way that it was conceived, I think it captures something really fundamental to what machinima practice with this engine has been known for, notwithstanding the amazing short that we saw last week, which was it's almost you can't even believe that was even made in the same engine. But
Yeah, that's an interesting contrast for
so
sure.
it's a fascinating contrast, isn't it? Just shows you how flexible these tools are, really, and
Yeah.
and how creative these people are that are working with these tools. But yeah, loved it. I love the lightheartedness to it, and frankly, I can't wait to see what we all pick again in the next set of episodes that we have a look at. So great pick, Phil. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
So I'll close with pointing out one cameo that I forgot to mention that's fun, and then one Easter egg
Oh,
that I'll bet nobody noticed. The cameo is there's a brief scene where Breen is sitting across a table having cocktails with Gordon Freeman. So it's the lead bad guy having cocktails with the lead good guy sitting out on some patio overlooking the water. It's just as if that, part of what they do is in their
yeah,
off time, yeah, they just get together
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and enjoy a drink. So the Easter egg is the television screen.
Oh,
So there's a point where he's watching television, and the point of the scene on an explicit level is he's watching a news anchor who's announcing to the world it's just been determined that Wallace Breen is a confirmed a-hole. And that's tonight's breaking news, right? What's interesting about it is that the newscaster footage is Dan Rather. Dan Rather was a real newscaster for CBS News in the United States he started in the 80s and on to the 90s and even into the early 2000s. And he did a lot of coverage around President George W. Bush and the resulting Iraq War and all that. Was very critical of Bush. The picture, you know how like they do picture in picture when they're doing the news?
Yeah.
The photograph that's on the screen while Dan Rather is talking, saying Wallace Breen is a bleep bleep, is a picture of Wallace Breen from the game, black and white, but with the face of George W. Bush pasted in there with Photoshop.
There you go.
So this like just at a micro level historical reference to and parody on the fact that basically that's what Dan Rather announced to the world about George W. Bush was, without saying it like that, of course. But so when I saw that, I had to look twice. I was like, is that really? And I zoomed in, and sure enough, yeah, it's a photoshopped face of George W. Bush on the body of Wallace Breen in the picture-in-picture of a real newscast footage from Dan Rather.
There's
Crazy.
a lot of in-jokes in this, isn't there?
Yes. Yes. That takes thought to put stuff. I mean, that's the kind of thing that like I would include in a film. And I can tell you that those little things, which 99% of people aren't going to see, they take so much time, but it's worth it. I don't know. I love it. I have a thing for it. I think it's, I don't know where it comes from, but I enjoy finding those things. And so that's why I will plant them in my own work too. So I appreciate that from the author of, I don't know what he meant by it, and I don't really care. Just the fact that it's so unexpected and unnecessary. It was, so that means it was put there on purpose. And I love it.
Michael is very vintage.
Yeah.
He obviously goes back to that period of time, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I just went back to check it, and I can see the photo.
Isn't
that
it?
you just talked
Once
about.
you see it, you can't unsee it. It's amazing.
I like little things like that as well. It's nice.
I do too.
Yeah, I like to hide things in my stuff as well. Sometimes people notice. Sometimes I'm still waiting for people to find things in there.
I can't tell if it goes back to like when I first played Doom, the original Doom game on DOS, and there were secret levels that you could discover. And then id Software carried on that tradition. They probably still do in games to this day, but it was a big deal in Doom 2. There were secrets, and one of the secrets of Doom 2 is one you can't get to while playing the game. It's only you can only get to it if you do a no-clip cheating move. And that's the final boss at the end, is this big, it's like a big face on a wall, and it's spitting out these spawning monsters constantly until you happen to do a Luke Skywalker, fit the torpedoes through the hole. If you no clip in the game and go up into that room where the hole that you can't see in the game, there's absolutely no way to get there in the game. But if you no clip in there, it is the head, animated, of course, the head of John Romero, the creator of Doom, one of the creators of Doom, on a stake, like a bloody head of John Romero on a stake. And when you first enter that level in Doom 2, that sound that plays, it sounds like backward masked speech. And of course, it just creeps you out, right? All the satanic imagery in that game and whatnot is just playing into that. Well, if you take that audio file and you reverse it to play it forwards, the audio says, "To win the game, you must kill me, John Romero."
To win the game, you must kill me, John Romero.
That's what's backmasked in Doom 2. So discovering stuff like that, I think that's what really turned me on to that, and then there's filmmakers who do it as well. If you want Easter eggs galore, watch Fight Club by David Fincher. He's got single frame secrets in that film that it's just crazy that are actually related to the narrative. Believe it or not, there's like single frame images of Brad Pitt's character that are before he appears in the narrative because he is a figment of the main character's imagination and the character is approaching a psychotic break where he's going to actually materialize. But in these moments leading up to it, there's just single frames of Brad Pitt in the scene. It's amazing. So I love stuff like that. I'm a total nerd for it. So
Yep.
this is in that vein. I love it. Audience, what did you think? Or did you notice any memes or references or cameos or secrets that we haven't discussed here? Let us know in the comments or drop us an email, talk@completelymachinima.com. So my name's Phil Rice, and on behalf of my co-hosts, Damien and Tracy, we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, for a minute, I thought I hadn't pressed record to start.